Yeah, I'm gonna send the links to what's the group. There you are. Very good. We are done. Okay, we are live. So as I told you, we're going to practice tonight for the second task, okay, of the writing section. And the way we're going to do so is by following the same mechanism that we followed before. Okay. So let me share my screen with you. And I'm sending right now to the WhatsApp group the Google documents we used last time, all right, in order to practice these exercises. Then send them, okay? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Okay. There you have them. And this is going to be how you're going to write down your essays, okay? Well, as you remember, for this task, the only material you need is a topic or subject from ETS, right? That is going to be a familiar, conventional, but dividing question that is going to ask you for your opinion. It's going to be requiring you to say what you think about it and to offer a defense of your opinion, right? Well, let's start with that, okay? Let me open here this, and I will let you know what is the topic for your essay, okay? Let's go. We have simulator, and let's go. Yes. There we go. Awesome. So this is going to be your essay, okay, dear students? I'm pasting the topic to the chat box right now and also to the WhatsApp group for you to read it. And it says the following. When schools do not have enough funding or teachers, some people think physical education classes should be cut, while others believe that courses in art and music should be eliminated first. Which do you think is preferable and why? All right. As you can see, that is the topic for your essays. Please write an essay responding to this question, taking a position. Okay. Please avoid middle line responses like, I don't think that any of them should be eliminated, but go for one. Say, well, physical education should be eliminated or music should be cut. Go for one of those options. Okay. As I say, it's always better to demonstrate that you are able to defend a position, right? Well, that is the topic for your essays, okay? And now I'm going to sort out the links. Well, listen please carefully. I'm going to say what person goes to each link. So dear Jorge, you're going to have the first link, okay? That is going to be yours. You can access. Or dear Sergio, you're going to have the second group, the one that says second group is yours. Anai, you're going to have the group, well, the link that says third group. And our dear Adriana will have as well the fourth one, okay? I repeat, Jorge the first one, Sergio the second one, Anai the third one, and finally Adriana is going to have the fourth one, okay? So I'm going to divide the class one more time so that you can be calm and relaxed. And also, of course, preventing that somebody else is going to enter the class and I have to explain this one more time. So I'm going to divide the class. Once you enter into your breakout room, start writing your essay. You're going to have 30 minutes, remember, and you need to write down at least, as I told you, dear students, you have to write down at least, where am I? There. You have to write down at least 300 words, okay? So please have all those things on mind while writing down your essay, and I will call you back whenever your time is over, okay? Is there any question? No?
It's clear.
It is clear.
Thank you very much. So please, go to your rooms, write down your essay as fast as you get into. I'll see you later. Okay. There you are. Thank you very much. Your students were having written those wonderful essays. I was observing you during the process, and I thought that you were very much concentrated and very much prolific as well. So let us review them. I have high expectations. So let's see what you have managed to accomplish. Let's go and read. Okay. So this one is for his essays. Um, yeah, for his essay. Yes, for his essay. So let's start with his essay. Okay, let's go. Art and music are particularly important subjects in the development of children and teenagers as they are very much linked with the imagination and creative processes of the mind. On the other hand, although important, the things taught in a physical education class are things that a developing child does naturally and could be considered unnecessary to dedicate resources and time to teach. Accordingly, art and music should have priority over physical education when considering funds and teaching personnel. Fantastic. I'll be explaining why I believe so in the following arguments. Awesome. First, it is an important part of a developed nation to consider art and music as a vital part of cultural growth, and that growth begins with children in developing important phases as a school. In fact, the development of the creative side of mind allows for a more peaceful and calm growth of children and are often underappreciated as a whole. It will be correct to assume that art and music is a part of our art and music are, right? That art and music are part, because here are part of our everyday lives as humans, and we couldn't exist without it. In this case, without them, right? Because art and music are a part of our everyday lives as humans, and we couldn't exist without it. Okay. I would recommend here to avoid using contractions, as I told you, your students, because contractions, first of all, minimize your quantity of words, and secondly, represents a more conventional and, let's say, well, not very much professional, right? It's more for commenting on posts, let's say on social media or something like that. But nonetheless, for this type of essays, better to write down with full sentences, all right? In addition to that, it becomes imperative that the schools teach, I like this word, imperative, teach kids the importance of art and music and how to continue developing these two pillars of society. Exemplifying in my school, art and music, were very much, okay, art and music again, right, were very much ignored as a teaching subject, and as a consequence, very few people grew up to enjoy art and music later on in their life, becoming very ignorant on the impact and importance of art and music. Fantastic. Secondly, everything that is actually important about physical education class, nutrition, and importance of physical condition can actually be taught in a science class, rendering the need for dedicated funds and teaching personnel to physical education redundant. Very good. In fact, most physical education classes consist in just handing out a ball and letting the children play for a certain amount of time without actually teaching anything valuable that can help the mind of the developing child. Fantastic. Taking that into consideration, the developing children can play the sport they want without the need of sacrificing their dedicated time to learn about art and music. To illustrate, my 10-year-old cousin goes to a particular school that doesn't dedicate any time or funds to teach physical education. The importance of nutrition and physical condition is taught in science classes. Very good. Plus, the kids can play the sport they are interested in free time without having to prioritize over arts and music. Indeed, provided that physical education can be worked around with low funds, unlike arts and music that require a more complex teaching process. Excellent. In conclusion, here, right, capital, I believe that arts and music should and need to be a priority for the healthy development of children, as it allows for a more peaceful and creative upbringing. Furthermore, I advise that art and music should be prioritized when considering the funds of the school, as it allows for a deeper and more complex understanding of the culture that surrounds our everyday life. Excellent. I don't have any observation on this essay. I think it's wonderful, well written, very good illustrations, personal and specific. Let's see how many words. I saw a lot of words. Let's see how many. Oh, wow, 509 words. Excellent. Well, this is an essay that certainly is very good. It's prolific, natural, well connected, very good, dear Jorge, very good essay. Congratulations. Let's continue. Second essay. All right, we have this was Sergio's essay, right? Yes, Sergio's essay. Let's go. It says, there's an interesting question that was presented to discuss if there's a lack of funding or teachers who want to take the challenge to teach some of those subjects, leave us in front of two ways: art and music or physics has to go. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay. Leave us in front of two ways: art and music or physics. Okay, or physics has to go. Here I will add a comma because art and music are representing one option and or physics. And here physics, when you talk about physics with this word, for English speakers, it means physics, like physica, like I don't know, strength, Newton, right? Gravity, that is physics for them. But educational, physical education classes, physical education classes have to go. That would be okay. Because physics for them is like Newton, gravity, right? Dynamics, things of that sort. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're right. Yeah, I mean, normally for physics, like for us in South America, physica is like sports, right? But nonetheless, for American speakers, physics is as I said, Newton, dynamics, things of that sort. Okay. Anyways, little correction. Physical education classes have to go. Very good. No, no, okay. It's totally fine, dear. Sorry, it's a common mistake. Don't worry. Firstly, and here I will add a transition phrase, right? Something like, I will explain my point farther, something like that. Firstly, music and art are very important because they exist a path with these subjects. Okay, these subjects, in this case, right? These subjects who teach us not only, okay, in this case, which, right? Because it's something which teach us not only how to draw or how to paint and I guess and use an instrument. Okay, they are very much farther than that. Teaches us history, names, theory, and a world of knowledge for a person. Okay, very good. Here I would end this sentence, person, and I would start a new one because it is right. It says this sentence here, it is a very good hobby and very relaxing for any people in the world. It's an independent sentence because it doesn't need to be attached to this sentence to be understood. It's independent in the sense that it stands by itself as an understandable expression. And I would say that it is not necessary to use it with a period. Okay, but very good. It's a very good hobby and very relaxing for any people in the world. It is very useful. Here I will use a semicolon maybe, because again, this is another separate sentence. It is very useful to utilize music as a daily therapy. Very good. For example, here again, I would try to write down shorter sentences, trying to finalize them with a lot of periods. That makes it easier for reading and also for writing for you. I think for this, it is very important, music and art. But when we are talking to keep this subject on school teaching daily, I think it is a bad idea because there are places more specialized with people who learn music every day, can teach music and art in a better way than anyone in school. Secondly, okay, again, physical classes, right, are also very important, also a very important subject. Because remember that because it's not necessary to be preceded with a comma. Teach us the very first basic rules of who works everything, okay, of how works, I guess, of how everything around us work. Okay, and why there is a lot of information on this subject than any other person than a professor who works in school could teach. There are in schools to learn physics until you get to the college. Okay, all right. Physical education, right? Very good. Concluding this, comma, I think that music and art are not that necessary on schools as physics subjects, okay? As a physics subjects, okay? It's understandable. Parents can find another school specialized with musicians. This is a very good argument, by the way. I like this. It's fantastic. Singers and professional instrumentalists. If any children wants to learn music, fantastic. Or go to the gallery of art and looking for someone who can paint, draw, or on a daily basis and can teach better than anyone. Okay, so here I will use another connector like therefore. Those are my arguments to support the main idea. Neither of those are more important than the other, but for answering the question, music and art class is less necessary. Okay, very good. In this case, art less necessary, right? Art less necessary. Fantastic. Well, I think it's a good essay. I like especially the argument you made that if you want your children to learn music and art, well, send them to an art school. Fantastic. That is totally right. And I think that the way you exemplify and use that as an argument is really very good, very well thought. What I would add here to this essay are personal illustrations. Something that you did, sorry, something that you did here a little bit in the first paragraph. But if you mention, for example, if you talked about your own school and you said, for example, when I went to the school, I didn't like to play sports, therefore, or excuse me, I didn't like to play music or to paint some drawings or anything. I actually decided not to participate in those classes because I thought they were useless, right? And by giving those illustrations of your own life or somebody who is related to you, you could have made your essay more vivid to give it life, right? So I think that that will be my recommendation. Try to include personal illustrations to each argument. And apart from that, it's a very good essay, right? And as I say, trying to write short sentences because it's not only easier for you to write short sentences, but also makes it easier to follow when you are reading it. As you notice, I stopped several times because it's a little bit, cut. It's a little bit choppy because when I'm reading, as you don't use a lot of points, I don't know where your ideas finalize. Therefore, I have to stop for a while and rethink it. But if you use a lot of periods and punctuation, then it's going to be way easier for me to follow your ideas that are very good. As I say, your argument here was magnificent for me. Well, and no worries with the quality of words. Very good, sir. Fantastic. Let's continue. Third essay, this is Anais essay. Let's go. Let's see what she did. All right, a second. Here we are. The reading extra lets off with a discussion about cutting the physical education classes or arts and music classes based on if a school does not have enough funding for teachers. In my opinion, they have to cut physical education classes, and I will expose about the points of my decision. Very good. First, exercise is a good way to relax and have our mental health in a good state of mind. But in my point of view, those classes can be given using other platforms like YouTube as a commodity at home. Very good. That way, the students will be doing exercise and at the same time working from home. Very good. Also, if they accept this statement, they can reduce the cost of sports, clothes, or shoes, which can be wasted every single day at school. Fantastic. Second, the subjects, your expression of arts and music develop minds in a superior way than sports. Very good. Because those subjects increase the skills of the students and it's a good space for creativity and imagination, even at an early age. And at an advanced age can reduce the stress levels and depression symptoms. Fantastic. Some of the greatest minds in the world have something in common, and that is their love and passion for instruments, music, poetry, painting, etc. Mozart, Beethoven, Edgar Allan Poe, Da Vinci, Vincent van Gogh, and some others, those creations have passed decades by decades, and it's still important nowadays and a mystery sometimes to understand the meaning and the inspiration, the materials, the techniques, and the details. I like how you're using a lot of words and I don't know, your essay seems to be very much thoughts and as if you had a lot of time to think about it, because when you have this facility of words to express an idea, that is something known as tautology in writing. I always love those type of essays, and I think this is one of those. Very good. Most artists and musicians have a higher IQ than other professionals. That's right. And occupations. So that is another reason to choose music and arts and give the real importance to those abilities and skills. So, being that said, schools have to focus their money, time, and support for those activities. Have a commitment not to let down the physical. Here's the decision, the physical education classes, and find some new ways for those classes and maintain the students very healthy minds. Fantastic. I think, as I say, how you have exercised this literary device in writing that is called tautology, and when you find a lot of words for the same idea, I love it. And my only recommendation here will be, as I said before, to offer personal illustrations. For example, here your argument was that superior minds, right, are developed by instructed people in music and art. You could have talked, for example, about your cousin, I don't know, who was taking cello classes and has developed a fantastic ability to listen to people's opinion and to be carefully executing manual processes, something like that, right? To talk about your own life, let the reviewer know yourself. That is going to help you a lot, okay, to make your essay more compelling, even more compelling, okay? But fantastic, it was a very good essay. And let us finalize with Adriana's essay. Okay, this is fourth one. Let's see what she did. Right? Here we are. Let's see. It is well known that schools do not always have the necessary resources for every assignment and project they have. This is the reason why sometimes they have to choose and reorganize how to split the resources and give the priority to most useful for students. Good. This is a tough decision because the students have multiple abilities and everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. In my opinion, okay, here, little space. In my opinion, by the way, is a connector, right? So a comma, remember, period, capital letter, and comma, right? In my opinion, every class is important because they help the students to discover what they are passionate about, and it is wrong to eliminate one of those. You are privating students to practice what they are good at. Good. But if schools do not have any other option, I believe that the best class to skip is physical education. Very good. Here, I would add something like transition phrase. I will explain this view, let's say, through the following, I don't know, arguments, right? 2 points. First, I think that schools can split the resources they have in a better way, reduce some expenses, and keep all the classes for the students. But okay, here, I think that here you could have continue with the sentence because it seems like there is a connection between two sentences that separated do not make the same effect. So I would say that here, for this sentence particularly, it is better to use but with comma. But in the sad case, they have to remove one of those. Okay, one of those. And here, again, comma. I believe that physical education could be the best option because if the school has a backyard where students can play sports, they still can practice what they like and play different sports team, which could be, okay, so for example, here again, this could be, right? Because when you say which is like a connector, when you are using the same sentences in a, well, being part of the same arguments. So this could be useful and stress reliever for the students that have more abilities for sports and physical educations. As I say, it's an issue about periods and commas, but apart from that, it's fantastic. I think that the essay is great. And so here, second, I think that the other disciplines such as art and music require more investment in material, for example. Okay, so for example, it's a connector. So better whenever you use it, to use it as a connector. For example, comma, different instruments and music equipment for the art class, many type of paper, pencils, paintings, and all the equipment that they need to work on in class. These resources are commonly more expensive and many students develop their real passion when they are at these classes. So it's important. I like how you use here, so it is important as part of the sentence of the previous sentence. That is to say, as a conjunctive sentence instead of a new sentence, because it makes sense in this case. Very good. It is important to help them to get to know what they really like. Good. Also, this type of activities are a very good stress reliever, where I say space where they can develop and work their abilities. It is necessary to split different classes, as I mentioned before. Not every student has, in this case, not every student has the same ability for a specific assignment. This is the reason here. This is the reason why schools should separate and split the students' spends. They know what they like and what they are good at. Good. Furthermore, it is very important that students discover what they are good at and what strengths and weaknesses they have. The only way for figuring this out is through classes, okay? And having the opportunity to learn different things every day. It's hard for schools to give the resources as they planned, but they must do it in the right way because they cannot affect students in their learning process. In the extreme case, they have to remove one activity, in my personal opinion. I think that the most harmless activity would be physical education. Not because it is not important, just because it is the activity that requires less equipment and is more accessible for everybody. If the schools have a backyard, students, okay, this is like the same, right? Can play sports and be active whenever they want and don't be affected and not be affected by the less resources. Yeah. All right. I think it's very good. Okay. Nonetheless, I feel like this part here, it's very similar to this one. So I would recommend you try to have more variety arguments, because when you are repeating or when you are being, when you are surrounded the same arguments once and again, it seems repetitive. And in this case, when I read it first, I said, okay, very good. But when I came here to the last paragraph, I felt it to be a little bit repetitive. And that could be harmful if the reviewer noticed it as well. And he's gonna say, well, I mean, she didn't have any other idea. So she started to write down any word that came to her mind in order to, of course, fill out the minimum requirements of words. So that is something that you don't want. And as I say, I think that instead of writing a lot of words, it is better if you concentrate a little bit more on the arguments and try to come up with arguments that are separated, not depending on each other, and that can offer personal illustrations. Anyways, I think the essay is fantastic. It has a lot of words, and that is very good, of course. That is never something wrong. But I would recommend would be, as I said, try to come up with more arguments, to concentrate for a while on the arguments, and then to accommodate those fantastic abilities and skills you have on writing and at typing in order to make a good essay with different arguments, independent arguments, with personal illustrations. But anyways, having this quantity of words, as I say, it's wonderful. Look at how many words you wrote. It's incredible. 519 words. So as I say, here, fantastic. The arguments are well thought, but as I say, if you manage to come up with different arguments as well that are not repetitive, it's going to be perfect. Okay, because this essay is incredible. Okay, so it's a very good essay here, Adriana, and maybe writing short and sentences could also help you. Okay, apart from that, fantastic. Well, I am very much impressed by your performance, dear students. Okay, we're gonna stop here. Please help me with your kind responses with the traditional poll, and as I say, I'm gonna take your assistance. Okay, don't worry about it because I'm gonna be taking it later on. I have the reports, so I'm not necessary to fill it any other way. Help me with that, please. And in a couple of hours, probably before midnight, I'll be sending a homework, okay, to the WhatsApp group for you to practice, and you'll have time to the weekend to finalize it. Please wait for it, okay? I'm gonna be sending, as I say, very soon, in a couple of hours, and that is gonna be helpful for you to practice, okay? Thank you very much for your attention, and I see you tomorrow in order to continue practice, all right?
Thank you,
See you
Carlos.
tomorrow, Carlos.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, bye-bye.